Welcome, everyone, to a special edition of Fraidy Geeks with...
Don't fuck with the original!
And we're going to
Take
talk
two's
about...
always better than take threes. Or take one.
Yeah, it's okay. Take one might stay in there.
It might.
Probably.
Good. We don't really edit. We like to have the natural flow of conversation.
We do edit, but I like to edit badly.
Oh, we don't edit at all.
And just leave like random things in.
We don't edit
fun.
at all. We just post it.
Just go with it. Go with the flow.
That's what we used to do, but we've slowly started to learn how to edit because we say very offensive things sometimes. And it's not that we edit those things out, but if we do like an interview, we pull the interview out so the interview can be its own separate thing. So we don't have Zordon being associated with, people wearing blackface because that wouldn't be cool.
No, that was...
Absolutely not.
That was the
Not
one film
cool.
that they thought was the Western.
Yeah. So anyway, guys, tell us about your podcast.
Yeah, well, I'll go. Casper just took a quick drink. We go by the names Becky Gremlin, me, and Casper. And our podcast is pretty much, we kind of like to say it's everything spoopy. And it's spoopy, not spooky, for the record. And we just kind of didn't. So there's obviously a plethora of horror podcasts out there and true crime podcasts out there. So we didn't want to be like a run of the mill, just kind of do what everybody else was doing. So we just tried to incorporate a little bit of everything horror. So we do horror movies, different things, paranormal, like cryptids, some true crime episodes, so serial killer, definitely not safe for workplace stuff. And then we also do haunted locations. So haunted locations that we've personally gone to, and also haunted locations that we hopefully one day will visit, and some that we absolutely will never go to, i.e. Bobby Mackey's. We did a great Bobby Mackey's episode, but we absolutely will not go there, so...
Yeah, then the way we record, like I said, we like to just record and then post it, because people seem to like how laid back it is, and people seem to really like how raw it is. There's really no professional way that we do it. We're just like, you're enjoying a conversation with us kind of like thing.
Yeah, that's how we do it too. That's one of the reasons I like your podcast, because I've always been about just let the conversation flow, and whatever you say, just stand by it.
Yeah, and not everything is polished. So if you're just having a general conversation with someone, it's not going to be it's not going to be scripted.
I tried to be polished, and Dan's like, we got to do more conversations, and Dan was absolutely right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So
A year
really
and a half
what you
later?
hear on our podcast is how we talk. Like that's our conversations with each other. And then I was like, why don't we record this?
Yeah, exactly.
And here we are.
Dan, Kristen, she has like the most fascinating life. She takes a Chucky doll to work with her, to the beach with her, and just like poses it for photos, like sun tanning or staring across.
Listen, when we went to Salem,
Chucky,
I actually bought
a
a child's backpack thing where I could put him in it and wear him on my back.
a child carrier.
Like a child carrier, and people were all over us. They were like, you could hear people behind us like, is that Chucky?
Nice.
I wish we would have got a camera installed like in his face.
He needed like a GoPro.
Yeah, just to see people's reactions, because people were like, can I get a picture with him? That is so amazing.
Is it the full size, or is it?
Yeah, he's the real deal. He was $600.
Yeah, he's the actual like movie style replica. So
Best $600 I've ever seen.
oh yeah, it was well worth it. He's kind of become the official unofficial mascot for the podcast. So
And we have joint custody.
yeah, I get like every other day, alternating weekends. So we've worked it out.
He's hard to take care of.
In court, so,
He's very mouthy.
Yeah, my husband actually still is kind of creeped out by him, so he actually isn't here in my house
I keep
very
him
often.
a lot more, yeah.
She keeps him more often because my husband is still like I don't know.
I don't know if I could have Chucky that size in my house.
Well, I'm planning on buying the one from Bride, too, whenever I get the money for that one. So that's going to be the one that's going to really creep everybody out.
And your favorite movie was Child's Play 2017, right? 2018?
Mine?
19? Yeah, you like the remake, right?
Oh, yeah, it was the best.
It's great.
Can't even
Jason
say
likes
that
to stir the
seriously.
pot.
It was pretty bad.
Yeah, we were just
bad.
on a podcast called Don't Go Out There, and we were ranking our Child's Play films, and I didn't even add the last one in there. And they're like, "You're forgetting one." I'm like, "No, I didn't."
Nope, we didn't.
Cult was the better movie released.
Do what?
The Cult was the better recently released Child's Play movie.
Yeah, well, Don Mancini did it.
Yeah.
So anything Don Mancini touches Chucky-wise, I'm going to like it, whether it's good or not.
Well, I know one thing that's really interesting with the dynamic of our podcast, especially when it comes with movies that we discuss, is we have about a 9-year age gap between us. So anytime we do movies that, we'll say, for instance, like Child's Play. So I grew up with the original 3, and I loved them. I'm very nostalgic when it comes to the original 3 Child's Play movies because I grew up with them. I mean, like I'm old enough to remember like my Buddy dolls. You know what I mean? Like absolutely did not want one as a kid. Creeped me out because they looked like Chucky. So when Bride and Seed of Chucky came out, and I was maybe like early,
It was
like
2004
late teens.
when Bride came out.
Yeah, so I was early 20s. I hated them. Because they were so far different from the Chucky that I remembered. I didn't get the camp. I just wasn't into it. So by the time her and I met, I kind of had sort of given up on Chucky. And then by this time, Cursed and Cult came out. She's like, "You please, I beg you to see them." And I did. And I'm so glad I did because it renewed my love of Chucky again. I was like, these movies got it right. Like for the people that appreciated the original 3, like me that grew up with them, this is what we wanted. Like, and now I can kind of go back. Bride, I can appreciate more now going back and watching it, especially with her. Seed, I still hate. I can appreciate it as a comedy. Like her and I watched it, and I can watch it as a comedy and laugh about it because there are parts that are pretty funny, and I think that's more Jennifer Tilly's doing than anything. They gave her the best lines in that movie.
Whoa. They gave Redman the best lines in that movie.
Oh,
He's got a point.
He's making a Bible epic.
You do have a point.
But no, I'm the same way. I grew up with the original Child's Play series.
Yeah.
I remember getting 2 when it first came out in the video store. And then 3, I was really mad because they recast Andy.
Yes.
Even though I liked it, but he was only like 10 when they made 3, so they couldn't use him again because they wanted to go older for whatever reason. And then I loved Bride of Chucky. The "I'm all rubber baby" line, that is great.
That's literally my second favorite Chucky line ever. Ever.
Gift protection. I'm all rubber baby.
My first is from Holt when he says "Jesus fucking cuckoo's nest." That's the best because he was in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, so it was like perfect.
Dan, did you see Colt or Scott?
Yeah,
have you guys seen Colt?
I've not. No.
I really liked Colt. I could go like from 1 to Bride and be fine because I figured. The way I see it, 2 and 3 never really like elaborated that much on anything. He's just in military school now.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
But
I agree.
Hey.
I like the deaths in 2. 2's my favorite still.
Oh, 2 had 2 was the one I saw 2 like originally when it came out because I was, when did 88 was when 2, or was it 90?
88's when the first one came out. It was 90.
It was 90. So I was 6 or 7 when 2 came out. So I remember seeing 2 originally, then 3. Then I went back and watched 1 probably around like junior high or high school. And then later on, Bride came out. And it took me a while for Bride. I had to appreciate the campiness. It really took me a while because it was so different. But I think general consensus is that Seed is
that first death in Seed though is pretty awesome.
It's good. It's got great death scenes, but
as a Chucky movie, I mean, it's okay. It's my least favorite of the series, though. Actually, no, 3 is. I like.
Yeah,
Seed
she
more
really
than
did
3.
not like 3.
I didn't like 3 hardly at all.
I don't think I really remember 3. So
3 had Justin Whalen in it from Lewis and Clark.
Was 2 the military school one?
No, 2 was the
okay.
That was 3, where he went to military school, yeah.
2 was when they ended up in the factory.
Ah, okay. So I kind of like 2. I did not like 3.
Yeah, 2 had really great kills in it.
Mm-hmm. And then and for the fact that they brought in Fiona Dourif for Curse and Cult, I was all about that life. I was like, I love the fact that his daughter is now in these films.
That's what did it for me, bringing her in, bringing back Andy, and
Christine at the end of it.
Right.
Like, they literally had everybody in it.
Yeah, bringing back all of the originals from the movies and tying that in. I love Andy's character by the beginning of, I always forget his real name.
Alex
Vincent. So
say Jason will know.
Thank you. So yeah, the beginning of Cult, I was all for it. Like when he goes on that date with that girl and she's like, well, I know who you are and I just don't think. I'm like, bitch, you passed up an opportunity. He's got this beautiful cabin in the woods and, you know, he smokes a little bit and he's got money and he takes you out and like, fuck that doll and his past. Like,
I'd be right with him. I'd be like, oh, you want to blowtorch him tonight? Let's do it.
Dumb bitch. I just remember the beginning, like you just passed up a great opportunity.
I don't know. Going to a cabin in the woods with somebody doesn't usually turn out very well.
And that's what you led with. So.
I don't know. I vacation at cabins in the woods a lot, so I don't know. You're right. That's like literally every horror movie starts like that. But
it's got a cabin in the woods. It's got a great basement.
I take a chance.
I
take a chance. As long as they don't have a basement, though. See, that's where you got to draw the line with the basement.
Or no mysterious videotape that's not marked.
Or a creepy book that's bound in human flesh. Sorry.
How many horror movies were in cabins? Let's see.
I grabbed one the other day. It's called the Cabining. I haven't watched it yet. It looks like it's just a bunch of kids in a cabin, and it's supposed to be a spoof. But yeah, I kind of want to watch
original
that.
Title.
The Cabining.
Very original.
Was it directed by M. Night Shyamalan Ding Dong?
I hope not.
We got 3.5 good movies.
Okay.
Well, I'm not saying anything bad against him. I like most of his movies.
I was going to bring this up earlier, but you brought it back up, Jason. Glass is not a good movie. Glass is like Max did.
I disagree.
I think Glass is okay. I didn't have a problem with it.
Glass is the epitome of how not to end your movie.
I like the ending of it, but it's definitely a step down from Split, but I still enjoyed Glass. Split's on a whole nother level.
Split is awesome.
Yeah, that's another
Split is
level.
Incredible. There's not one.
I do feel like with the way it ended, I do like the way it ended, but I expected more because Split was so good.
I was just disappointed that it took so long to tie them all to tie them all together.
When did Unbreakable come out?
I think. Yeah.
So literally about 20 years then.
Yep.
Holy crap.
I was in junior high and saw it in theaters with my mom because she had a big crush on Bruce.
The one positive about Glass is, though, Bruce Willis does show up to act for the first time probably in 15 years that he's actually shown up to set like, I read the script, guys. Let's go.
It's been 84 years.
Maybe after Die Hard 3.
I have to laugh at that because if anybody knows the story of Kevin Smith working with him,
Yeah, I do.
That makes that even funnier because I wasn't surprised by that story. I was like, oh, really? Bruce Willis is difficult to work with? Really? Like, I never would have fucking thought. Like, I mean, come on, of course he is, but it is what it is. I'm still gonna watch Bruce Willis movies. I watch Die Hard every Christmas.
Bruce Willis just released the movie.
One of my favorite Christmas movies, and it is a Christmas movie. I will fight people on that. Die Hard is a Christmas movie.
It is, obviously. But he put out a movie with
Thank you.
Mark Paul Gosselaar, and that was fantastic.
That was a great movie.
But it's bad when Mark Paul Gosselaar is the best actor in your film.
That laugh.
When Bruce Willis was in it, it was like he was reading his lines right off of his palm because he forgot what he was supposed to say.
Cue cards.
Yeah.
It's like Marlon Brando. I don't have to read the script. I don't have to. Even though he's definitely not Marlon Brando level, but, in his eyes he is, I guess.
So, what's that, Dan?
I was like, so would Willis show up to get his own Oscar, though, if he won one?
Probably
Willis
not.
has it in him that he really does. Like, he could potentially, if he tried, win an Oscar, but he doesn't try.
That's true.
But I got an idea since we just spent like 20 minutes talking about Child's Play. Let's talk about favorite horror franchises.
We have the same one.
We'll just we'll put Child's Play off the table. Let's start with Scott. Scott, what is your favorite horror franchise?
See, that's tough because I feel like most horror franchises I like don't have like that many good movies in it. Like I'd probably say Alien, but I really only like the first two. I'm big, like Aliens, probably my favorite.
Aliens was phenomenal. I loved the
second. Yeah, first two are really good. I like the first one better, just as a movie and as a horror movie. The second one's like fun, it's more actiony.
I just saw those for the first time last year.
Yeah, I remember us talking about them.
I had only seen Alien Resurrection.
That's a bad.
I saw that in the doc.
He just watches that and he's like, I don't need to see the other ones. It's okay.
I'm good.
I actually do like parts of Alien 3. Like they're like, especially like the director's cut. Alien 3 isn't the worst thing ever.
It's
I
really
like
not.
people
This Leprechaun series is the worst thing ever.
I am offended.
So bad.
Besides one and the new one.
Leprechaun in Space is like the greatest thing ever.
Oh my god.
Leprechaun in the Hood? He raps.
I gave that a 0.
I could forgive Leprechaun in Space. I absolutely, as a black woman, will never forgive Leprechaun in the Hood. And then they have the caudacity to make a sequel. I couldn't even I was like, they're not even trying to not be racist. Like, I get this is the 90s, but oh my God. Black people get money. Gun store and liquor store. Gun store and liquor store. And drugs and strippers. And
I mean, that's my life.
And that's it. You're not even black. Wow, really? It's just, I could forgive him being in space. Those two movies were unforgivable. I think that's why Warwick just walked away. I think he couldn't even forgive himself for those two movies and just walked away from the franchise. He's like, oh, Star Wars needs me back? Here I come.
I never saw this.
Star Wars money.
Literally how he went. He was
literally, and I'm not trying to make fun of him.
No.
Literally. Sorry.
That was a leprechaun move. That's why I said that.
That was a leprechaun
while
joke.
He's doing the leprechaun thing.
That
was not a no.
I don't need little people coming after me.
I'm not a fan of its space. I like the first two.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, the first two were actually really good.
Yeah, I love the first two.
First one terrified me as a kid. I mean, it was really creepy.
I liked the newest one because it was a sequel to the first one. It actually brought back cast members and stuff.
I haven't seen that one yet.
It's pretty good.
I recommend it.
I think what it's called. I have it on Vudu, Dan. Just check it out.
Leprechaun Origins? No.
It Returns. I think it's called Returns.
Leprechaun Returns, yeah. Leprechaun Origins was the one that was a sci-fi one, and then Leprechaun Returns wasn't that a WWE production, I think?
Oh,
yeah, like they're as amazed as I was that they actually have a movie studio. I had no idea.
Oh no. They have a movie studio.
They're like making
a lot
movies.
Of them. Yeah.
They're making a lot of movies.
Most of them are not good.
So, Scott, what's your favorite in the Alien franchise?
One. The first one. Alien. Yep.
Yeah.
That's definitely.
I agree.
My second favorite horror movie of all time. So yeah, it's my favorite franchise, but The Thing is my favorite horror movie. So.
It's a great favorite. One of my best friends, that's her favorite too. She loves The Thing.
I'm also just a big John Carpenter fan. So.
Thank you, sir. Exactly. Same here. Huge. That man can do no wrong in my eyes. No wrong.
I had Prometheus and Covenant before I saw 1 and 2. So that might have helped because I really like Prometheus. I really liked Covenant, and it might be because I watched it in that order.
Probably.
Yeah.
That's oddly hilarious, Jason.
I think Prometheus is one of the most beautifully shot movies I've ever watched. It's slow. I
like Prometheus for what it is, but it's not. I hate what they do with the alien mythos.
I like Covenant a lot more than Prometheus, but 1 and Aliens was
hated Covenant.
Oh, I did not.
Covenant was not.
Scott, I'm sorry. I have to. I'm with Scott, and I think that just comes from being a fan of all of them and watching them from the beginning. What Covenant did, kind of, I don't know.
Once you explain the mystery behind it, it loses all the intrigue. It's we know exactly how everything was made, and it's there's no mystery, there's no mystique, there's no creepy unknown behind it. It's just all right there.
I agree with Jason the fact of how beautiful Prometheus is, and I think that's kind of I think it kind of shows off more. Well, actually, really, Covenant shows more, even as terrible as a movie it was, it shows off more of H.R. Geiger's art, I think. And that's probably about the only thing for Covenant. As beautifully as Prometheus was shot, especially a lot of the outside scenes on the planet and whatnot, I thought were just really striking. The art, H.R. Geiger's art, I think was really more prominent in Covenant, which I've always thought his art was just, it's so hauntingly, gothically, grotesquely beautiful. And so that, I think that probably disappointed me more with how terrible Covenant was, because it was visually just as beautiful as Prometheus in my eyes, but it just, like Scott said, the whole mythos behind the story, they sort of flipped it, and I didn't really appreciate that.
I did enjoy them, but I have not seen them more than once, so I guess I didn't enjoy it that much to go back in and watch it. But Dan, let's go to you, man.
Hold on. Can we name that Rob Zombie's Halloween syndrome? When you take the mystery out of stuff and you just make it, totally suck it.
I like the first.
I could not clap more for what you just said.
I watched that on my birthday because I was like, "Oh, new Halloween, awesome!" And that sucked.
The first one wasn't terrible. The second one was trash.
Yeah,
I could hardly even get through it, to be honest.
The second one was violent and mean violent. I don't know, violence is always mean, but I don't really know how to explain it. It just seemed more vicious than any other horror movie I'd ever seen. I didn't like the second one a lot either, but I did enjoy the first one.
Watch the original Hills Have Eyes 1 or 2. That's some nice brutality.
That's brutal. Those are brutal.
I just watched the remake to I Spit on Your Grave. I will never go back and watch the original because I heard the new one is less than the original, and the new one was harsh. I can't do it again.
The original is
again.
Yeah. I've actually never seen the remake, but I've seen the original. I own the original. Yeah. I've seen the original, but I've never seen the remake. The original was enough.
Yeah, the remake was. I didn't see the original. I saw the remake, and I was like, I'm done. I'm never watching this ever again, or any of these other films.
I had them all three in my queue. I'm like, I'm gonna binge this series today. All right, I love slashers, and I'm surprised I made it through the first one because when they show the rape on brutal.
It's at least like 30 minutes of rape, but I'm like, are we going to be done anytime soon? Because I really need her to start killing these assholes.
Well, and I think that's kind of this consensus with my biggest argument with rape revenge films is that they say that they're made for women, but they're shot from a man's perspective. Like these aren't women directing these aren't women writing these. And they say that we're making these for women. Yeah, but are you really? Like,
because I'm never gonna watch.
Because I don't want these. Like, I don't want these movies. Like,
now, I do have to say, there's one called, I think it's called Revenge, and it's French. I think it's French, and it was on Shudder. They don't show the rape, but it's a rape revenge film.
The effectiveness of the way they showed the rape, though, in the I Spit on Your Grave, made you feel a little bit in that moment, and that might be why if I ever see those actors, I'm gonna run because I don't want to be anywhere near them. Because that was.
Well, I met her, the girl in the remake. She was at Horror Hound a few years ago, and I met her, and I was like, "Can I just hug you?" I'm like, "It didn't actually happen to you," but I'm like, "Are you okay?"
I think, though, in their eyes, that the brutality of the rape made you want to see her go after them. It does. It's like it really, because as brutal as those guys got it at the end, it's like you wanted that. You wanted that. That was the ultimate, revenge.
Oh, so mad after watching that movie.
But when I watch a slasher flick, that's what I want to see regardless. You didn't need the 25 minutes of rape.
I agree. Exactly. No, you
I would have enjoyed the whole bathtub scene as much as I did without seeing that first.
Same.
That was a great scene.
That was
oversold.
That was a great scene.
But I'd have to go with Hellraiser as my favorite franchise.
Wow.
You're one of the first people I've ever heard say that.
I never
and I'm very
hear
interested.
people say Hellraiser.
I love Clive Barker's stuff. So if I could cram Nightbreed and the other one I made you watch, JT, Lord of Illusions is actually my favorite one that they did.
Knowing you, Dan, that doesn't surprise me. Just because I've known you for so long, I'm like, yeah, that tracks.
It's the inverse of a hero story, kind of. It's like I can do real magic, but I hide it, and oh god, that guy we buried in the desert's coming back. It's good stuff.
I've never seen all of the Hellraisers. I've seen the first two, and that's it.
1 and 2 are good. 3 is oddly ridiculous.
Yes.
4 goes to space.
Yes, it does.
Why?
But you get a whole half the film is in the past where Les Marchands built the boxes, so that's cool.
I appreciated that about the fourth one. I've actually seen all of them, so.
And they really go downhill.
I've seen 3.5. 3 was silly fun. 4, it was slow. Is that the one Scott Derrickson did?
Or I have no idea.
No, I'm sorry. I have not. The newest 1 or 2 that don't have Doug.
Yeah.
I have not seen. I apologize. No, any of the ones that don't have the newest ones that don't have Doug Bradley, I have not seen. I apologize.
I think I own it, but I haven't been drunk enough to watch it yet.
Have you? So I've actually met Doug Bradley, and it's. I just thought that was it was at a Days of the Dead.
Oh,
and it was interesting because you never hear people say that that's one of their favorite franchises. And I think I was telling Kristen that it's kind of one of those. I feel like you have to be. I think for me, why I love those movies or why I appreciated them is because you have to be in a mode to watch Hellraiser. Like, you just have to be like, you're like, ooh, like, I'm in a mood to watch some shit go down, because especially the first two, like,
yeah,
oh my God. I mean, and I appreciate, which I think a lot of people oversee, is there's a very villainous, I forget her name, but there's a very villainous woman character.
Oh, yeah, the dude's wife that wanted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, she's fucking crazy. Like, she's super sadistic. Like, you forget that, like, how strong, you didn't see that a lot. Like, yeah, the Cenobites, those guys, Pinhead and all, like, but she's really a villain in those films. I mean, essentially, like, she's a pretty villainous character.
But then you've got the the hero is also female.
Yeah, exactly. Your final girl, basically.
Because most of the guys are like complete assholes the whole time. Like,
yes,
you got the doctor guy in 2 that's like, hey, bloody mattress, let's all go to hell. And then like her nurse friend dude is just like, I got your clothes, let's go. And then he like disappears the rest of the film.
Yep, gone. No help whatsoever. She's like, oh, I can just take care of myself. It's no problem. I got this.
So it's just her and the mute chick.
Which one is your favorite, Dan?
2. The doctor Cenobite at the end with the huge penis thing on his head.
Oh my God! I was waiting. I was
totally
waiting.
Turned me off. I was like, I'm done with this.
I was like, oh, it's so phallic. Oh.
But it's hilarious.
Oh,
it is funny.
Oh, it is really funny. It's real, especially that character too. Like, for him to get it like that at the end. He
goes in the weird box and he gets the whole the whole treatment and stuff. And he comes out and he's like, and to think I hesitated. It's just.
Have you seen? Okay, so Dan, I have a quick question for you then, which I think that this movie kind of took elements of Hellraiser from it. Have you seen Event Horizon?
Yeah.
Okay.
I also love that movie.
Thank you.
It's like a bad B movie, but I still love it.
Isn't that the one Dr. Grant is in?
Yeah.
Yes.
Sam Neill. I was like, what? He's Dr. Grant to me.
He makes that movie. Like,
he really does. Well, the Jack Noseworthy, the first guy in it that kind of gets the younger guy that gets like part, like I met him at Days of the Dead, and he's a sweetheart. And I told him, I was like, I'm such a fan of that film. I really don't think that film gets a lot of. You never really see it on a lot of lists where people appreciate it for what it was. I thought it had a lot of really great elements in it for a sci-fi horror. I really enjoyed it.
The story of it was that they had an extra like half an hour of it shot, and it was all pretty nasty looking, and the studio like cut it all. So you can see like stills of it online, but nobody's ever released like the whole nasty parts. So.
Because it would be right up there with Hellraiser. I think. I mean, at least parts of it. It would be that gory, like that twisted.
Because it looked pretty awesome, but what we got was a pretty decent B movie.
The MPAA. They rear their ugly head once again.
Damn them.
Exactly. I agree.
So far, all the horror movies are great that you guys have all mentioned, but the best horror movie franchise is Scream.
I mean, I can't say no to that.
I can't really. I love Scream. Scream is
disagree.
The reason I got into horror.
I can't disagree.
So I love Scream. It's not my favorite, but
it's not my favorite, but I can't disagree.
I love Scream.
I love all of them.
Yeah.
I do too. It's the only franchise that I love all of them.
The third one was kind of ahead of its time. The third one is more relevant now with everything going on in Hollywood than it was back then. Because the head of the studio is definitely a Harvey Weinstein type guy and the way they deal with it. But no, I loved all, even the Scream 4. And I know they're working on a 5th, and I'm going to be excited to see that until it proves me wrong. I'm kind of curious what somebody other than Wes Craven can do with the material, and I know they got some good people behind it. But Scream 4, I thought was fantastic. Wes was obviously not happy with the way they did Nightmare on Elm Street, which the first time I saw that remake, I liked it. I have no idea what movie I watched because I recently rewatched it, and that thing is horrendous. And you can tell that he is not happy about remakes when he's making this movie. There are good remakes. I'm not going to, come down all remakes, but Scream 4 definitely had a message. And you guys' name of your podcast is one of my favorite lines in Scream 4, which is when Sydney, kills her niece, like, don't fuck with the original.
I mean, because it kind of goes without saying. I mean, you just...
Scream 4 is actually my favorite. I like Scream 4 better than the original Scream.
I think 4 is going to hold up for a while, more so than the other ones. But I think Scream 2 did something brilliant when they introduced the movie within a movie. And that's why Scream 4 was able to be as good as it was.
Mm-hmm. Scream 2 was my favorite.
Scream 2 is such a good sequel.
That is a great sequel. Absolutely.
I loved the first one, but the sequel definitely is my favorite. It's interesting, Dan, though, that you brought that up with the third one, because I think that was something we happened to mention when we did our Scream episode, was how interesting now you're seeing that, like, it's so funny how they were almost kind of like calling it out even back then, that there's creepy weirdo producers.
So, like, we're just going to put this in here.
Like, I mean, we know Weinstein's doing this, but we're not going to, like, come right out and say, well, I mean, if you guys, they were Weinstein Productions. Like, Rose McGowan, who was in the first Scream, was a victim of Harvey Weinstein. So they called it out. They called it out blatantly without saying his name, because it was one of those things where everybody knew, but, how are we going to take this guy down? So I appreciated that, because that was something that they just threw in, and knowing what we know now, it's like, we see exactly what you guys were doing. Like, that was perfect. But I agree. I actually have a really funny story for the second one that I told on our podcast, because it's a great story to tell now. And I enjoy telling people about it, even though at the time it terrified me. So I saw the first 3 in theaters, and the second one I happened to see in junior high with a group of girls during a birthday sleepover thing. So it's like 4 of us in like the first few rows. We're like all excited to watch the movie, and there's like it's like a weeknight. There's like barely anybody in the theater. So the movie starts, and everybody knows how the beginning of the second one starts. You're watching, they're Jada Pinkett, and they're watching Stab, and they're passing out the masks, and everybody in the theater is wearing them, and the whole bit. So during this scene, one of the girls in our group happened to look behind us, and still to this day, I have no idea if this was somebody pulling a prank or if this was the theater involvement, but somebody was sitting behind us, rows back, wearing a Scream mask. In an almost empty theater on like a Thursday night. We were terrified. Like, we were so you're talking a group of like 13, 14-year-old girls. We were horrified, especially in the context of the opening scene where somebody dies in the theater. Spoiler alert, where they're stabbed by, like,
they're
the whole
stabbed
thing.
while watching Stabbed.
So, like, as the whole thing's going, the guy, we'd turn back around and look at him, and he would do that thing where he would, like, slowly look at us, like, with the mask on. And, like, we're like, like, we're all just, hysterical at this point. So the movie, that part ends, she gets stabbed, the movie starts. We look behind us again, he's gone. He's gone. He never came back. We managed to sit there and finish the whole movie and didn't leave till the lights came on and somebody came in, to clean it out. So we're telling them, like, did you guys see? Nobody saw the guy. The theater swears up and down they had nothing to do with it. Nobody else saw the guy leave. Nobody. And yeah, so to this day, it's a pretty interesting story to tell people, because it was terrifying, and I have no idea if that was some promotional thing or what, but it scared the shit out of me 20 some odd years ago, and now it makes for a funny story, but it definitely was not funny at the time. Like, not.
It's not a Scream movie, but it's definitely some of Wes Craven definitely pulled from New Nightmare to make Scream. Like, you can see the groundwork for it eventually become Scream and New Nightmare, and I think New Nightmare is one of the most underrated horror movies of all time. Because I think New Nightmare, arguably, I'm not saying it is, but you could make the argument that it's the best Nightmare on Elm Street movie. And yeah, no, Scream. Scream is fantastic.
But have you watched the MTV series?
No.
I never did.
Do it.
It's actually not bad.
Do it. Only watch seasons 1 and 2 though. Season 3, I don't know what happened, but
I have season 3 queued up. I haven't started it yet. So
I figured out the killer in the second episode.
Oh, great.
Like me and my roommate were like, it's this person and this person, and it was. And I was like, okay, well that was fun.
I never figured out the killer in any.
Oh, my husband's the worst person to watch horror movies with. He's within the first 10 minutes, he's like, it's that guy. And then you get to the end of the movie and it's that guy, and you're like,
I'm pretty much at the point though, if Emma Roberts is in it, she's gonna be the killer. I'm like, she's,
or she gets killed in the first 10 minutes.
Emma Roberts is amazing.
Sorry, has anybody seen The Hunt yet? If they haven't, it was incredible.
I've seen it in
all year.
I saw it when it was named a bunch of other things and made like 20 years ago. Like,
Hard Target with Jean-Claude Van Damme, the greatest.
No. The Surviving the Game.
Oh yeah.
And if you really want to, you can go back to the 50s. The Most Dangerous Game.
Surviving the Game. You're right. That's
now that you say
right.
that, yeah.
Except
right.
it was a race thing. It wasn't a money thing.
Yeah, I
Right.
appreciated with the fact that conservatives were so pissed off about the movie being made, and you actually see the movie and it makes fun of everybody.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
it just
It's like fuck left people, fuck right people, just fuck everyone.
like you're both wrong. You're both terrible. You're both awful people. Like none of you are good. Yeah, it was perfect. And I got the I think if nobody's read 1984 though, or Animal Farm, I'm sorry, like the Animal Farm references were really great. I think a lot of people, it would probably be great to go in having read Animal Farm and probably getting more of that, the whole Marxism thing with Animal Farm kind of more fits into the movie than more of the left wing, right wing thing. So.
Emma Roberts is pregnant.
You heard it here, guys.
Breaking news.
We were supposed to have Eric Roberts on one of our podcasts. Like, they sent over a screener for one of the worst
Yes.
and we watched it. And we were told that Eric was going to come on.
Yeah, we watched like 5 minutes of it. I think you may have finished it.
No, Kat watched it all.
Oh, geez.
Like, she hasn't even been able to bring herself to review it. She's like, I'm going to wait till you guys do the interview before I review it, so that way the interview could still happen. And we never heard back because COVID started.
Yeah, because I watched some of it because they sent that on like Dropbox or something, didn't they?
Yeah.
It was
that sucks, guys.
I honestly don't think I've ever seen anything with Eric Roberts in it all the way through.
Dark Knight.
Testament to his acting.
I mean, yeah, like he just randomly pops up and stuff, but I'm like, oh, really? He was in that? I don't think I ever actually saw that. Like,
You've seen The Dark Knight, right? Or is it Rise? Which one is he in?
He's in Dark Knight.
I know his name.
Take it back.
I've never been able to pick him out of anything.
You're right. He was in The Dark Knight.
I've seen The Dark Knight
so that's the one
5 times.
That's the one single movie that I've seen him in all the way through.
All right, you guys have the same favorite horror franchise, so what is it?
Are we going to say the same one, or do you want to?
Well, you go. Which one are you going to say?
The Conjuring.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, see.
Are we doing slashers or just series?
Doesn't matter.
Okay.
It's whatever.
Because slashers, mine is obvious, but series as a whole for me is the Conjuring series. I only don't like Annabelle. That's the only one of the series I don't like. The first Conjuring is my favorite horror film ever made. The second one, it was fantastic. Annabelle Creation is the best Annabelle. I don't care what anyone says. That's the best Annabelle. Annabelle Comes Home was okay. I liked it for what it was, for sure. And The Nun gets way too much hate. That movie is beautifully shot. such a beautiful film.
And one of the best twist endings.
And the way that they brought it back to the original Conjuring, I was like, the fuck?
got La Llorona.
Oh, I forget that.
Because it technically is. Because I had to Google it because I saw the one guy that was at Annabelle Comes Home. I'm like, are these connected? And I Googled it, and yeah, they were like loosely connected.
It wasn't a good movie, though.
I don't like
it. Was not a good movie.
They tried to make her too much like Valak.
But wasn't that an earlier series as well, though?
What's that?
La Llorona?
No, it came out recently.
Mm-hmm. That's the most recent Conjuring universe movie.
But what is that? What does it translate into?
Well, it's based on a folklore. It's a Spanish folklore. La Llorona actually translates to the weeping woman.
The wailing? Okay.
Or wailing woman. Weeping woman.
Okay, yeah.
Wailing woman. Yeah, she.
There's an old '90s series called that, but I'm not gonna.
That was
it may be part of it or not. I'm not sure.
You know, we did a podcast episode about the lore of La Llorona and how it from the Spanish folklore before we had seen the movie. So we had like these high hopes for the movie because the folklore is really creepy and you know, it's basically like the Spanish boogeyman, you know, like they would tell, you know, like young Hispanic kids, like, don't go out at night, don't get in trouble, or La Llorona is going to come get you, you know, like grandmas would tell their kids that. So you have like these high hopes for the movie, and then we went to go see it and we're like, this really wasn't very good. Yeah, I mean, it does fit within the universe, but I agree that what Kristen said, that I think they were really trying to go. They made her look a lot like Valak. They made her look more demonic, and I didn't really care for that.
We did see the nun in moving seats, which was really cool.
That was pretty cool.
The jump scares and everything, like the seats would jump with you and it would move and it would scare you even more because the seats would move. So that was actually really cool.
Where do you get a theater like that down there?
Do what?
Where do you get a theater like that down there? Because I'm going to be making drives.
It's the Cinebistro. What's it called? What are those seats called?
Butt kickers?
D-box?
I saw Star Wars Force Awakens in those seats too, and it was one of the best movie experiences I've ever had in my life.
Like
and I can't remember,
like 4D
D-box
or D-box.
Yeah. D-box seats is what they're called.
Seats.
It's like you're watching the Star Wars trilogy in the Star Wars trilogy game module thing that they made.
Pretty much, like anytime you were in a ship, it was going with it. It was the coolest thing.
I wish I would have seen the Star Wars movies like that. Dang.
It's totally worth $25, 100%. So
I ended up with my 7-year-old niece in my lap. She fell asleep. She was like, child. Dying. She watched the first 10 minutes and the last 10 minutes. I was like.
So the first Conjuring, one of the reasons why I love that film so much and why it's my favorite horror film, I went and saw that in the theater at 10 o'clock at night, first of all. So I did not sleep very well that evening. And of course I woke up at 3:06 in the morning and I was like, are you fucking kidding me? So I laid there until 3:07, and then once I hit 3:08, I was like, okay, we're okay. But that movie restored my faith in horror films because I had never really seen anything that actually scared me prior to that, besides The Exorcist, which is a very long story. I will not get into that. But that was the first time in such a long time that I was like, wow, that was so well done and put together. Not to mention Ed and Lorraine Warren in real life are two of my biggest heroes. So knowing who they were and going into that, Vera and Patrick, there could not have been a better Ed and Lorraine, 100%, and there never will be. The story was well done, even though it wasn't 100% accurate. It was very accurate, and I really, really just enjoyed that. And then when they came out with the second one, I was like, even though they were like, we're going to throw Valak in there, which has nothing to do with anything, but we're just going to do it. And I was like, this is cool. This is the first demon I've ever seen where I'm like, ew, you're ugly. I don't like that.
I've never seen the original, the two Conjuring movies. I've seen all of the spinoffs, but for some reason I haven't seen the first two. They're actually sitting by my TV, so I can watch them tomorrow, but I've never seen them.
You should
They
watch
are
those.
phenomenal. Like, Annabelle Comes Home is the best movie spinoff from the Conjuring series.
Yeah.
Or not Annabelle Comes Home, I'm sorry, Annabelle Creation.
No, you said it right. Annabelle Comes Home.
Annabelle Comes Home was great. Don't get me wrong. I loved it. But Annabelle Creation was the end of that movie. I sat in the theater like,
what just
for
happened?
a solid 5 minutes. I was like,
I agree.
And they came in and they're cleaning, and I'm like, I need a minute.
Like, I know you guys got a job to do, but give me some time.
I couldn't tell you what Annabelle, the first one, was about. I hated that movie.
It was bad.
I don't even remember why I hated it, but I did not like it so much so that I did not want to watch the second one. But
you hated it because it was bad. Yes.
It's true.
That's all you need, man.
The first one
was terrible.
It was terrible.
Either, and I heard the second one is great.
Yeah.
But I haven't been able to bring myself to watch the second one yet.
The first two Conjurings are by far the best, but Annabelle Creation is the best spinoff outside of the two. Annabelle Comes Home is good, and I loved The Nun, but the original Annabelle and La Llorona.
Yeah, I agree.
I didn't like
I really liked. So I have really deeply personal. Like, I love the Conjuring series. It's tied. It's not my favorite series, but I have reasons for why. It's kind of like tied. It's top in there. But the original Conjuring, it was the last movie I saw with my mom before she passed away. And so the first movie will always hold a special place for me because my mom never got to see the rest of the movies, and she loved them. She loved the first one. She absolutely. And I knew about Ed and Lorraine through my mom. Like, knew about the original Annabelle, knew about their involvement with the Amityville case. So I thought the movie was brilliant and loved the series from that point on. But for me, even though it has its hiccups, my favorite will always be Nightmare on Elm Street.
I'm trying.
That's one of my favorite. That series as a whole for me, just Fraidy as a villain he'll just always hold a special place in my heart. I've met Robert Englund. I love him. I love him as a person. I love him as an actor. That movie franchise was the first one I was ever introduced to by my mom. My mom was the horror person in the family. My dad was not really into it, but mom was all about horror stuff and Halloween and all that stuff. So like Nightmare and Halloween were my mom's favorites. And I love the Halloween series too. Like, don't get me wrong, again, I'm a huge Carpenter fan, but I just have this nostalgia with Fraidy. He's just like the ultimate. I mean, he can get you either way. He was that villain. Like, he's gonna get you in your dreams. He's gonna get you in real life. Like, there's no way you're never gonna be able to escape him. Like, you can't fall asleep, but you're gonna have to at some point. But if you do, he's gonna fucking kill you. So it's like he was just that ultimate villain, and he came at a time where, throughout the 70s and early 80s, a lot of the villains that you were seeing were just, they were Jason, they were Michael, they were just these slow-paced, scary and whatever, but nobody like Fraidy, this like sarcastic, smart-ass piece of shit. And then the whole backstory, and then, in the 80s, they couldn't say he was a child molester, but he really was, and, so they switched it to a child killer, which is just as equally bad and gross, and the parents killed him, and then he comes back for revenge on the kids, and as much as I loved New Nightmare, Dream Warriors, oh, yes, hands down, that's the best one in the franchise.
Of course, it's the best one. It's got the soundtrack by Dawkins, so.
And also the main girl's name is Kristen, so. Patricia Arquette.
Cute little Patricia Arquette, and there's Lawrence Fishburne in it, and
Larry Fishburne.
Larry, yes, he was Larry. Now, was this before or after Pee-wee's Playhouse? I can't remember
Before.
It had to be before, I would think.
It was before Pee-wee's Playhouse, yes.
The first one I ever saw in that series was, I agree, 3 is probably the best one.
Oh, that's so good.
Was 2. 2 was the first one I saw.
I'm sorry.
At
least you didn't see Freddy's Dead first, because that's the real bad one. But
I saw that at the right age. Like I think
I like that one
when it came out. So I loved Fraidy doing the roast battles. Like I thought it was great, him roasting the people before he killed them.
I mean, it's not one of the worst movies I've ever seen, but I just didn't like it.
Stand-up comedian Fraidy.
Oh, my husband loves the scene with the Nintendo glove. He's like, I had one of those.
It did not work very well.
Exactly. He said the same thing. He's like, they were very ineffective. But I had to have one.
I liked Freddy vs. Jason as well.
Oh, it took me a while. It took me a while with Freddy vs. Jason, but I appreciate it now.
So much so that the comic book sequels where Ash is included in the guys. Have you read those or
Yes.
I haven't read it, but I need to see that movie.
Oh, that was of course, if that would have come to fruition, that would have been the ultimate. Like that would have been way better than Freddy vs. Jason.
That would be one of my honorable mentions is the Evil Dead franchise, even the remake.
Yes.
I think the remake.
Oh yeah, the remake was good.
Oh my god,
I have to agree. The remake was actually pretty bomb.
It was horrifying. I just recently watched it.
Have you seen Ash vs. Evil Dead? That show?
Yeah.
It was very good.
Oh,
that was very, very good.
The second episode where, what is it? Scene? Ash like has to crawl into something, like somebody's behind. Is that right? Am I saying that right? I laughed harder than I've ever laughed at anything in my life. Like it's one of those things where if somebody told you were about to watch it, you would cover your eyes. But you're like, how have I not seen that? Like that was the funniest thing I've ever seen in my life.
That was how me and my roommate were. We started watching it, and I was like, it was in the first episode. I was like, how have we not seen this? This is literally Evil Dead. This is perfect.
Oh, it was.
I loved it.
Well, it was funny because the year before the series started, I met Bruce Campbell. Like literally waited. I probably waited in line just as long to meet him as I did Robert Englund. It was like
how many hours did you wait for?
Probably about 4 hours. 3 or 4
I waited
hours.
6 for Robert Englund, so I feel that.
Yeah. So, but it was worth it.
I'd do it again.
It was worth it. I would do it again for Bruce Campbell.
Bruce Campbell is my favorite actor and was since he was 6 years old. We took him to a con in Kentucky. Bruce Campbell brought him up on stage. I'll have to send you the link. It's pretty funny in 2.5 seconds, or 2.5 minutes. But we actually met him too that day, and I'm like, God, I want him to put Tony in a headlock so bad. And we got in there, and Tony was young, but it's his hero, so he was excited, so he was a little hyper. And Bruce Campbell, without being asked, put Tony in a headlock. So I have a picture of him putting Tony in a headlock. It was fantastic.
Oh,
that's amazing. That's like what Robert Englund did for me when I met him, because my favorite was Fraidy until Chucky happened, and I had to be honest with my feelings. But because I've met Brad Dourif too, and he's something else. I adored him. But Robert Englund I was telling him how much I love Fraidy, and he said, "Kristen, you bitch," and it made my life.
Jealous.
I was like, I mean, that was her name, so he's like, "Kristen, you bitch," and I was like, "Say it again."
Yeah, those movies were. I mean, they were what they were, and it's funny you said the second one. The second one. I love how it's getting more appreciation now for what it is. I mean, it is kind of like our first gay, like you had a guy final girl. I mean, now going back and realizing, the actor was gay. The actor was gay. Jesus.
He's not anymore.
Like it just goes away.
It just,
no, so the actor's gay that played him. And clearly the character was gay. I mean, there was so many overtones that obviously nobody probably noticed much then that you would now. So I think the appreciation that it gets now, I'm happy, because it's kind of, if you look at it for what it is, it's kind of like it was pretty much like a gay horror film. I mean, it kind of was. There was like these real like sexual overtones between him and Fraidy too, and it was just like, I want to get inside you, and you were like, ooh, Fraidy, no. Excuse me, sir. Like,
I think you should take me out to dinner first.
No means no, Fraidy.
The second one is not great in retrospect, but it does have some images that are freaking.
It's really not good, but it's really not. It does. But
I mean, being gay myself, I'm kind of like, I appreciate the movie for what it was, but I'm still like, then we have a movie called What Keeps You Alive. We just did a podcast on that, and I'm like, that's LGBTQ representation at its finest.
That's just a great horror film altogether, and the two main characters happen to be gay. Like, you're just like, oh, okay.
Let's take a
whatever.
Let's talk about the remake, because I just watched it.
Of what?
Nightmare on Elm Street.
Ooh.
And we're done. Next thing.
I really like Jackie Earle Haley.
Yeah.
I liked that okay. So I can't say that I didn't hate the remake. I didn't hate it. I didn't like that it was the bantering Freddy that we're used to, but he was so sinister that I kind of liked his evil take that he did with it, where he wasn't like bantery with his victims. He was just like, I'm gonna kill you, and that's why I'm here, kind of thing.
I was telling somebody, because after I watched it, I'm like, if they had put if they had made this not Freddy and made Jackie Earle Haley a different character and done like an original movie, like he could be a menacing, like evil bad guy. Because there's scenes in that movie where he is terrifying, but it takes you out of it because he's not Freddy, and you can tell he's not Freddy.
Yeah, I agree with that too.
Well, like I mentioned, the original one was supposed to be centered. That was the original story. Was he was supposed to be a child molester / child killer? And obviously for reasons during the 80s, they just completely decided to cut that idea. So bringing that element back into it in these movies added something even more sinister to Freddy, that, like Jason was saying, if this wasn't Freddy, this was just some really creepy standalone character, like, you would believe it. And it really added even more to the creep factor. Just little things. Like, at the end, putting her in the same dress she was wearing when she was a child. Oh, God. I mean, my skin from head to toe felt like it was going to crawl off. Like, watching that, I don't even know the last time I had genuinely been that creeped out, and he didn't even really do anything. It was just the context of the scene. Not many people know that part of the reason why Jackie Earle Haley got that character was from a previous character he had played in a movie called Little Children that Kate Winslet and Patrick Wilson were in. He played a child molester in the movie. And that was, knowing that was the direction that they wanted to take the remake of Nightmare on Elm Street in, that was a big part of his casting choice, from playing a child molester in one movie to basically playing a child molester in another movie. So yeah, that reading that and having seen that movie previously, it added even more to the creep factor. The special effects of actually making him look like what an actual burn victim would look like, that was really creepy, because he really didn't look like Freddy at all. Like, what, because obviously we see Robert Englund, we know that is Freddy. But I have my things with the remake, because I was kind of like, did you need to remake Nightmare on Elm Street? No, not really. I mean, but they did, and I get it, and I kind of appreciate it. I don't know.
I appreciate the remake of Nightmare a lot more than I appreciate the remake of Child's Play. I'm just going to say that.
The remake of Child's Play is the same way. There is a good story there. There really is. The fact that AI could become aware and kill us, we've seen it, and it could be done very well, especially a kid's toy. But they shouldn't have made a Child's Play. They should have let it be its own.
They should have made the movie, but not connected it to Chucky.
Aubrey Plaza is not good at playing a mom. There's nothing like heartwarming about her in that movie.
I agree.
I'm watching.
I thought that the whole time.
I'm like, this lady hates her kid. Like, there's nothing loving about. It's just like if Max were cast in Aubrey Plaza's role as the kid's dad, you'd be like, why is this guy somebody's dad? This guy hates kids, and it's very obvious that this guy hates kids.
Also, he was old enough to be her brother. I was like, the age gap here doesn't seem like she'd be his mom. Also, why is she buying him a doll? Like, he's not a kid.
What teenage boy wants a doll? I don't know.
Especially one that looks like that. Can we talk about how terrifying that thing looked?
I'm like,
I wouldn't have bought that. I would have been like, no.
Lady is not a good actress. I went back and I've seen more of her stuff. And then because I watched more of her stuff, I'm like, she's actually pretty good and stuff. So I went back and watched Child's Play again. So I've seen the remake twice. And I'm like, this is just not for her. Like, she should just miscast in this movie.
Did you guys know that, what was it, 2 months? I think it was two or 3 months before the movie came out. They didn't have a voice actor.
Yeah.
Like, they were banking on Mark Hamill doing it, but they didn't
minute.
have him for sure. And they had already released trailers, and I'm like, this is going to be a train wreck.
Like I said, the whole AI thing, it's been done, and I get it, and it can be creepy. It can totally be creepy, but you're taking away the complete origin story of Child's Play. Like, Charles Lee Ray is gone. The whole possession is gone. Like,
and the way he's like, you should call me Chucky. And I'm like,
so you just randomly
give
him the fucking name Chucky? Like, you don't, they're just, where did that Chucky just came out of the ether? That's what you decide to name? That's the fucking name you pick, and you give no backstory as to where that name happened to come from.
And then the very end when they're like, and he'll be your friend till the end. I'm like, fuck you. Just fuck you.
I hate when they try to like modernize origin stories.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're like, oh, well, modern audiences won't accept that. And it's like, I mean, I think that, I don't know, yeah, like kind of the campiness and the, you know, the hokiness of the original backstory is like what gave it so much charm. So it's like, you know, I don't need it to be like an uber realistic, you know, backstory as to why this doll is killing people. Like, I can suspend my disbelief.
It's a doll killing people. It's already somewhat.
Exactly.
It's a doll killing people. I don't really need anything to be like concrete.
Not at all.
It's grounded in reality. Yeah.
It's weird to make a remake for a horror franchise that's still going. Like, Cult and Curse have gotten pretty good reviews, and they have a nice audience to them. Like, why?
Well, there's a series next year. He's making a TV series right now that Sci-Fi picked up, and it's coming out next year, I think. And I'm like,
The stars Alex.
yeah, I know he's in it. Isn't Jennifer Tilly's in it too? Isn't she?
Yeah.
It doesn't have
She's
Brad Dourif.
Supposed to be. No, it does have Brad. Brad's involved.
Okay, because everybody.
Brad will be the voice
If Brad
of
was not the voice
Yeah.
of Chucky, I'd be like, I'm sorry, I can't. That's
How creepy is it that Brad Dourif is technically possessing his daughter's body?
Huh.
A little bit.
maybe that's why they didn't do that. You know, I was telling her, I was like, in Curse, they had a great opportunity to make her like it was because he was in love with her mother. So they had a great opportunity to make it like she was his daughter.
Yeah.
And now that you just said that, I'm like, you know,
Maybe that's why.
Maybe that's why they didn't do it, because that is a little weird. But I'm glad that they did it though, because she is every bit of him. She looks like him. She acts like him. She laughs like him. She's just like him. So it makes sense now that they didn't do that, because that would be kind of weird.
And we brought this conversation full circle. I want to thank everybody for checking out the Three Geeks podcast. Fraidy Geeks meets Don't Fuck With the Original. Fantastic. It was really nice meeting you in person, Kristen.
It was nice meeting you too.
It was nice meeting both of you, and thank you guys so much for coming on.
I'm meeting all of you.
Yeah, we have to do this again sometime. This is a lot of fun.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it was awesome.
Oh yeah,
Thank
for sure.
you.
Yeah, you guys were great. We appreciate you guys having us on. That was really nice of you guys to ask us on. Anything horror, we're always like, ee.
Absolutely.
You can find the links to everything they do in the description of this, whether you're listening through audio or video. Dan?
What?
Have a great day.
What are we doing? We don't have an ending yet, man.
We don't have this.
Oh. You look like you're about to say something.
I always look like I'm about to say something. It's just what happens. No. We've got Max's little thing to play at the end.
Fraidy Geeks, scary time, super cool.